All right. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. We are kicking off a new schedule here in 2024 with Real Talk with E.V.E. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Eve Gomez, also known as E.V.E. And I'm sure we got some new viewers coming in this year, 2024. And we're starting off a new schedule, everyone. I don't know if you heard me last year, Sundays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to kick it off with an amazing servant leader that is not in this country currently. And she's doing some amazing work. She's on a mission with a vision and a purpose. And I just want to welcome everybody from all the streaming platforms that our show is coming on, to our LinkedIners, our Facebookers, and also our streamers, Twitch TV, and I hope that you have subscribed. If not yet, I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel, Eve Gomez, also. So I don't want to delay. We are limited to our 30-minute show, but sometimes it gets so good that we go a little over, which I hope it's okay with you as well. And I'm going to bring up, obviously, my sister in Christ, and she's an amazing powerhouse. And we're going to bring her up right now. And this is none other than Sam. Her name is Sharmila, but we all know her and love her as Sam Wajokumar. I hope I said your last name right. Welcome. Happy New Year, Sam.
Happy New Year, Eve. It's good to be here. It's nice to see you.
Yes, it's good to be seen, better than be viewed, correct? That's what I always say. It's better to be seen than to be viewed. That's for sure. Yes. Well, welcome to once again, to Real Talk with E.V.E. show. And thank you for your time. I know that time is precious, and as many say, time is money, but I value your time. And I did say that you're not in this country currently. Where are you actually chiming in from?
London today. So yeah, it's definitely a little chilly here, but beautiful London city is always vibrant and full of things happening.
Well, I was just going to ask, how is the weather out there? Because it's below zero out in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area. So if you want to talk about chilly, I don't think it's that
No,
cold.
we haven't gotten that kind of chilly, just chilly for London.
Well, this is the first coldest day of the year, and I think of the season as well. When it hits below zero, that's record breaking right now for this year, obviously. So I'm glad that you're not freezing out there as we are here. But it's expected, right? And you're out there in London. May I ask, how late is it or early out there?
Well, yes, I am definitely into the nighttime, burning the candle at night hours for
I
sure.
am I'm cutting into your sleeping time. Well, we're definitely going to say we appreciate your
Thank you.
time. So, Sam, you are an extraordinary woman, a powerhouse. From what I've seen since I've met you, and I am blessed and honored to call you friend and sister. And for those of you that don't know, I sit on their board, but it's not even about me. It's about the mission, right? And you have a wonderful purpose that God brought you here. He got you through some things, and that's what we want to discuss just briefly about who Sam is and what got you to do what you do to get you where you are today. So once again, welcome to Real Talk with EVE show. I know we got some new viewers this year, and if you don't know about this show, tune in every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is our new time for 2024, and it's going to be an amazing year, but we can't do it without you, our viewers, our listeners, our donors, our contributors, our subscribers. So we're here with a big ask. And first of all, let me start off by asking, who is Sam? Who's Sharmila?
Oh, that has so many dimensions to it, Eve, right?
Right?
So,
Who am I not, right?
yeah, I mean, I like to think of myself as, someone who is here to help empower women in general, in the workplace and through our anti-human trafficking ministry. And, obviously, as someone who has needed a lot of helping hands to get to where I am today and continue to need them to keep going. My story is one of definitely overcoming adversity and resilience, right? And when you ask who is Sam, it's such a broad question, Eve, right? Because
I
there's so
know.
many facets to it, right? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm a hard worker, I'm a leader, I'm a non-executive director. I'm so many different things that
Amen.
make up who is Sam. But I think that that's women everywhere, right? And I think when you think about what shapes us and what makes us, it's all of our experiences. And I've definitely had a lot of varied experiences in my life, right? Everything from, you know, sort of founding companies to overcoming human trafficking to organizing for women to have better, rights and gender parity and gender equity and sort of all the places that that's possible to fight for.
Mm,
But, my heart is still with helping women overcome trauma, whatever that might look like, but certainly in the, realm of anti-human trafficking, which is where Rahab's came from. I mean, I was a kid, right, when trafficking happened to me. And, you know, those teen years when kids think that they can make good decisions are often not true, right? I mean, their brains haven't even developed enough developmentally. They're lacking the rational part of the brain development to do those things. Um, and I think helping parents and kids to understand, you know, what that might look like is a big piece of the puzzle. But
mm,
as someone who, obviously has spent a lifetime overcoming the very many things that being a victim of human trafficking has, sort of helped and hurt parts of my
mm.
life, I can definitely say that it's super important for us to help women and give them
Right.
the ability to get out, because unfortunately today we have more slaves in the world than we had when William Wilberforce abolished slavery in the 1800s. And the problem with that is that we are making a new slave every 30 seconds on average, right? Somewhere in the world, every 30 seconds, someone becomes a victim of human trafficking, labor or sex trafficking.
Mm,
I think it's super important that people realize that sex and labor trafficking are oftentimes not mutually exclusive. So, even when we are hunting for sex trafficking victims, we may find that they started off in labor trafficking
mm.
situations, right? A lot, and especially in this season where Super Bowl is coming, the amount of ads that are going up for jobs that are not real jobs is unbelievable, right? We last week we were working on a project where they are trying to get survivors to work for a corporation that says it's, representing a major hotel chain. Turns out that major hotel chain knows nothing about what's going on. And they're
Wow.
telling them that they're optimizing advertisements, but they can only get paid in cryptocurrency. And they have to deposit money into their crypto account before they can get paid. Now, what kind of job is that? How many
Wow.
times have you had a job where you had to pay first before you could work there, right? But when you're desperate and they tell you that it's for training or this, that, and the other, you think, well, maybe if I get this training, I can change things. And they offer, quite lucrative pay options. But, as you investigate the site, as you investigate what they're saying, it's absolutely not true. And
Wow.
even the first hotels that they asked the, you know, folks to work on in the app to optimize them online are not even hotels in the chain that they say they're representing. That makes
Mm,
no sense. One
no, of
hotel chain is not going to help their competitors optimize their hotel ads. So
course not.
already we've got, big problems in this
Hmm.
situation, right? But, it's a new way of doing financial scams. It's absolutely a money laundering scheme. And what we forget a lot of times is how much financial scams and human trafficking are together, right? we've been seeing, if you've been following the news, you've been seeing a lot of those financial scam places come down. And they're often overseas, right? Where
Mm.
they're like in the Philippines or whatever, and they've been scamming US citizens out of their hard earned money. Turns out that all the people working in those were being trafficked as well. They didn't want to commit these crimes or whatever. They were under duress as well. So, like,
Mhm.
there's now
Mhm.
multiple levels of trafficking going on. And we are definitely seeing a rise in that type of thing happening
Mm.
here towards Super Bowl, right? So we're seeing, so once upon a time when we were only worried about how are we going to stop the sort of sex trafficking, we now have a whole nother realm of things happening. And a lot of times the ads are about, do you want a job as a cheerleader? Do you want a job in hospitality? Do you want a
Yeah,
job as a photographer? Do you want to be a hostess? Do you, like,
a
and they're
model. Yeah, I
right,
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
and all of these things sort of make sense in the realm of the fact that you need all these extra people during Super Bowl to make the ads and do all this other stuff. So people are like, oh, well, I could be part of the extras in the Super Bowl ad campaigns or whatever, right?
Right.
For the halftime shows and whatnot. But turns out that's not real, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so when they arrived, they were then turned out and forced to, either be labor trafficked or sex trafficked. So they
Mm.
might be forced to work on things that they don't want to work on, or work parties, or be caterers or cater waiters, or all sorts of things, but without pay. Or um, they'll also have, be taken to parties and other sorts of things, and sold for sexual favors. So either way, it's not fun.
No,
And it
no.
all is starting with those ads that are being posted even now to recruit people in, right? And so it the way in which trafficking happens has changed so much, right? And the way that the grooming is occurring is so much more. In fact, all research points to online ads being the number one way that
Mm.
for jobs is the number one way that the grooming is begun with victims around the world. Like, this is true for the UK studies. This is true for the assessments in the US. There's just a very, very difficult line because we are sitting in an economy where we have a lot of people right now who are unemployed. The tech industry's struggling. There's a cost of living crisis,
Mm.
and all of that just increases the
Mhm.
sort of
Mhm.
desperation of people to find work. And here you have people that are just going to make it worse.
So you mentioned grooming for the parents or young ladies, if you will, because you said you started being trafficked at a very young age. Were you a teenager? Is that right?
15. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So at that age, you don't know. You don't know right and wrong. Your mind's fully developed. So let's talk about
I
now
mean,
those that are. I'm sorry, go ahead.
you might know right and wrong, but you certainly, like, for me, it was an issue of coercion, right? So I was told that they were going to hurt my family, my sister, if I didn't do what I was told. And if I didn't do it, that they were going to make her do it. And so
Mm.
for me, it was very, very much a protective instinct, right? That immediately kicked in.
Right,
They were
right.
threatening my parents. It was very, very difficult to make a better decision than the one I made because I was so scared, right?
Well, I'm sure.
And I think that this is where a lot of kids that get in trouble don't realize that that is a problem. And obviously, if you are being trafficked, um, the force and coercion is a big part of that. And so helping people understand that they can get help, right? So, calling the hotline, so it's 1-833-4 new day, calling that hotline will allow any parent who's worried that the kid is being groomed, or any kid or anyone in the community, access to resources to help you understand what grooming might look like, what you can do about it, how do you resolve it. And for kids or adults who are being victimized, call the number. We have resources to help you. And the thing that parents need to think about is, what does it look like, right? And know the signs is super important. And those signs are on our website, ravesdaughters.org. If you go to know the signs, it'll tell you. There's some video there with Liam Neeson who talks about what the 8 critical signs are. But the most important thing is know your kids, because changes in behavior are the number one indicators that something's going awry, right?
What could some of those indicators be? Just to mention a few red flags for parents or even a young adult, female young adult, to look out for.
So, first of all, are you asking me in terms of grooming what to
Yes, in
look
terms of
for?
grooming.
Or
Yes.
yeah, so I mean, if somebody is offering you something that feels like it is too good to be true, it probably is,
Mm,
and for sure you should, think about it, right? But some of the typical things that you want to look for are abnormal behaviors at the very top of the list. So, is your kid, friend, mom, dad, whoever it is, now sort of more fearful, more depressed, more submissive, more paranoid, avoiding eye contact? What sorts of things are you seeing, right? Secondly, is their physical health changing at all? Do they seem to have a lack of personal control or being isolated from their friends and family? These are all sort of very important things to try to look for, because they do change the way that people behave, right? And
mm,
so, you know, it's super important that we think about those things. But I mean, the immediate side of this is change. And if you're seeing your kids changing their behavior in any way that is different, then you want to know the why. And it doesn't make sense to just sort of say, oh, they're just a teenager and this is what teenage angst looks like. Maybe, but maybe not. So we always say, that's fine. Maybe it's that, but let's look a little deeper to just make sure. Because a lot of kids said that their parents just didn't notice. And the
mm,
thing is, when we asked the parents said, well, no, I did notice, but I just didn't think that it was anything major, right?
mm,
And so I didn't dig into it further. I
mm.
thought it was just typical teenage angst. The problem is that once it's done, it's too late, right? So
Right.
making sure that we have attacked it early by paying close attention
Mhm.
is the best way to, prevent, right? And again, have classes in your neighborhood, right? We're very happy to offer education programs to mommy and me and other things like that, such that you can, you know, have we have a whole technology in trafficking. We have how to recognize human trafficking. We have in your backyard, and there's just so many ways to help you figure it out. And not just you, right? If you're
Right.
traveling right now, looking in airports, and what sort of red flags can you see, and for us to teach you what those are. So, for example, if someone's traveling and the only luggage they have is maybe a plastic bag, or they're traveling with someone and they're not able to speak for themselves, or just, simple things like
Mm,
that, are things that you can report, right? So
right.
we have whole courses on this, and you're more than welcome to sign up on our website, and we'll happily, help your community learn more.
So let me ask you. We talk about that it's easier, obviously, to get younger, the better, right, for the trafficker. But what about our young adults, especially women, right? We're looking at the vulnerability of anyone if they happen to be in a financial situation. or if they happen to have a very low self-esteem, can a young lady in her 20s, early 30s also become a victim to that? And if so, how?
Absolutely. There's no
What are they looking
age at which human trafficking isn't still a challenge, right? We've had women as old as in their 60s.
Wow.
And so it
Mhm.
just depends, right? Um, and there's a market for all sorts of things these days. And unfortunately, for the most part, you are vulnerable at any point these days, right? So it can be a sextortion situation where, you might have posted a picture of yourself online. Somebody takes your head, puts it on someone else's body,
Mm,
and using AI, they're now sextorting you, right? Saying that they're going to release this to everyone. And these sorts of things are still very much a part of what we see happening. And it is super important that if this happens to you, that you make sure and report it, even though you may feel shame or other feelings. It is still super super important that you report it, just because not doing so means other people can fall victim as well, right?
right,
So
right,
it the most important thing that you can possibly do is report it.
right. And in me being around in the schools and the youth, those are the things that I look out for, especially if I'm mentoring them, how they feel about themselves first, right? That there's a red flag.
Yeah.
You're the target right now because of how you feel about you. And now you're trying to separate yourself from your parents because your parents are mean, because your parents are like holding you tight. They're overprotected. Instead of trying to make it look like it's a positive thing, our we were teenagers before. We were rebellious. We didn't want to listen to our parents. They don't know any better. We do. And so that becomes more of open the door to invite me to that dark world of human trafficking or sex trafficking. Even like you said, 20, 30, 50, 60 year olds, because of the situation that they're temporarily in, then they're starting to feel good. Now they got this guy, right? Boyfriend, right? Isn't that how it usually starts in some cases? Their boyfriend.
Yeah, there's definitely different kinds of traffickers, right? So the boyfriends we call Romeo traffickers, and yeah, definitely they are hunting for you on, social media, on dating apps, on lots of different places. And once they convince you that they care about you and you care about them, then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes much easier to manipulate, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's I'm asking questions for the audience, Sam, because we don't know who needs to listen to this, who needs to open their eyes to it. Just as you and I know, Heidi, she is our director, right, of the Women's Against Trafficking, Moms Against Trafficking, that it happened to her teenage daughter, and she's
Mhm.
trained. She knows what to look for. Talk about a little bit about
I
that.
mean, so here's the thing: training alone is not going to stop someone who is determined to try to hurt your child unless you train your child too, right? And so at the end of the day, we need adults to understand what's going on, but we also need to train the youth, because if
Right,
they can recognize it, it becomes much much easier for them to prevent it. And the things is that if we train kids in their sporting groups, in their schools, in their groups of ballet or dance or soccer or whatever they're into, then all of them can look out for each other,
right, right.
because at the end of the day, it's the people who are isolated that are easier targets. But
Hmm.
you'd be amazed at how many popular girls end up, or even popular boys end up in this situation, because it is so very easy for someone to sextort you today, right?
Wow.
It's so very easy. And you don't have to have shared a nude picture, because AI will solve this problem for
Oh
you.
my
If you,
gosh, yeah, that's the scary part
right?
about AI. They think it's you, and you have no idea. It's not even you, only your face. That's scary.
right?
That
But
is
the
so
thing is,
scary.
it doesn't matter because if your face goes up there on someone else's naked body, that's not going to solve the problem for you because you are still going to feel like that's you, right?
Like
And
you're
so,
being violated, right? Just
exactly,
wow.
absolutely.
Well,
So,
I just want to make a disclaimer out here, Sam, that if anybody ever sees me with no clothes on, it is not me, because that is not. And that goes for a lot of women that are out there in ministries. Beware that that could happen, because my face is plastered everywhere. And I'm glad that you're
right,
mentioning this, because it can happen to anyone out there. And celebrity world, come on. Some of them are
absolutely, right,
already almost
ab-
wearing nothing. And now
right.
AI is going to say, here, look at that.
I mean, the first cases of child pornography being created by AI are now coming out, right? The
Oh my
first sort
God. Wow.
of like AI has a lot of promising things, but ethical, explainable AI is the
Mhm.
future, and we've got to make sure that we can explain where the AI came from. We can explain how its decisions were made, and we can be ethical with how it was handled. Now, not everyone's going to use it ethically, but
Right.
it is important that we figure out what those ethics look like because they change all the time. And unfortunately, the invention of AI and its generative capabilities can be used for good and they can be used for bad, just like everything, right? And we now need to think about that in how human trafficking is changing the way that it does things, right? Because, unfortunately, AI can generate lots of things that can be used to extort children, women,
Mm.
professors, whatever, right?
Yeah, that is sad. So that is bringing awareness to the communities, to the public here, with special guest Sam. She is an amazing woman that has gone through her share of horrific things. That we're going to bring her back so we can talk about her story, and which you already know. Fast forward, what got her to being here with Rahab's Daughters. So Rahab's Daughters organization is an international nonprofit seeking your support. As you heard Sam mention, they offer quite a slew of trainings. Go to the website, rahabsdaughters.org, where we're also having a big ask. And what is the ask, and why are we asking, Sam?
So the ask is that, like, folks, we rescued over 180 women and children last year. And we need to rehabilitate, reintegrate, on top of which we like to identify where human trafficking is happening so we can focus our resources to that and obviously provide education and prevention. And in doing all these things, we need your help because we can't do it without you. So, with Super Bowl coming, we plan to run 24/7 call center. And last year, just during Super Bowl, we rescued 40 women and children. We need you because this year it's in Vegas, and this year it's going to be probably one of the tougher years. And we need help in several ways. Obviously, we need donations. Please, text to 44321. You can text RD 2024 and you can give online. You can go to our website, www.rahabsdaughters.org, and give there. We also need volunteers. We need volunteers to cover us in prayer as we embark on this. So you can sign up for the prayer bowl. We need volunteers to man the phones, which you can do from one of the call centers or the privacy of your own home. We also need volunteers to do outreach on site in Vegas. And we certainly need more volunteers to help with getting the word out with the awareness campaign. So if you are a communications or marketing professional, we are desperate for your help.
Mm.
So, please
Yes.
do volunteer.
Yes. And, we often do this phrase, some may call it a cliche. It takes a village to raise a child, but now it takes a village to save one, including
Mm,
their mom. And yes, as you heard, Rahab's Daughters has rescued not only women, but children too. This could be your child. This could be your sister, your mom. and you just don't know. Don't wait until it happens and hits home to step up to the plate and say, I want to make that difference. I want to be part of that solution. Let me donate. Where can I donate? rahabsdaughters.org. No amount is too small, people. We often like to splurge, like drinking our coffee from Starbucks, from Dunkin' Donuts, or from some place that's fancy coffee or all those lattes. That's $7 a month that you can donate to make a difference. Or how about 2 cups of coffee instead of drinking them, make them from home and donate the $14 a month. Be a monthly donor saying, I am sowing a seed here, people, because when we're not sowing a good seed, what do we expect for our harvest to look like? And I'm just speaking from the heart here, knowing that EVE is on that ministry, on that move to say, you know what, touch your heart. How can I make a difference? We often give to things that really don't matter. We splurge on our hair, on our nails. I'm not saying women you shouldn't, but how about this month? I'm not going to go to my beautician. That $125 that I could hold off on, guess what? I'm going to donate half of that or most of it or all of it to this movement. This is a movement that's going to save someone. And you know what? When it affects one family, it affects the whole community, people. Don't wait until it happens to your daughter, your neighbor, your girlfriend, your daughter's friend. Most of the time, Sam, people don't move until it happens to them. That's sad. Let's be proactive, people, instead of reactive. Let's be preventative. Let's hire Rahab's Daughters training team to come to our schools, to come to our organizations, to our churches, so that we can be trained. We can be taught what to look out for, how we can keep our congregations safer, because people, it happens in the church. You heard me. It happens in the church. It happened to one of our directors here from Rahab's Daughter. So, and she was trained and she knew what to look out for. But you know what? It was a family in church that did that to her daughter, that trafficked her daughter. Luckily, she is alive and in a better place, receiving all the wraparound services that she needs. Now, some of you may be asking, and Sam, I'm going to ask you to explain that. Some of you may be asking, well, why do you need so much money? We're going to need $1 million this year, if not more. Can you explain why that is?
Sure. So this year, our budget is sort of 1.2 million is what we're trying to raise. And half of that will go to rescue, rehabilitation, and reintegration services, because we are trying to have 3 forms of housing. So we need emergency housing in our rescue side. We need housing for our rehabilitation programming, so that's secure. And then we need housing for our reintegration, which is helping them to become self-sufficient and, have that ability to have help with their rent and other things as they move into self-sufficiency. And what, the other part is to help us to create our software and point it into the French language and other countries. For those of you who know, we, do outreach, and it's based upon some software that we've built that helps to target where human trafficking is happening, both sex and labor. And then the remaining budget, obviously, about 13% is to our operations, and the rest is to education and prevention programming. So we do quite a variety of those sorts of things. So if you'd like to learn more, we definitely have a presentation on who we are and what we do and what we're trying to achieve. And if you'd like to understand more about how we spend our money, you can look online. We have a platinum seal of transparency from GuideStar, and we definitely have no problem being transparent in how we are using your funds. You need only ask.
Yes. And so I'm asking, I'm a bold woman and I'm going to be bold about it, because I would not want your child to end up missing, which happens to be the case. A lot of children are missing, and guess where they are? They're being sold. I hope that you saw the movie. What was it called? The
Sound of
Sound of
Music.
Freedom. Sound of
Sound of
Freedom.
Freedom. Yes,
If you
Sound of Freedom.
haven't seen it, watch it, and then you're gonna go, the light bulb's gonna come on. And by all means, grab a box of tissue when you watch it. I've watched it 3 times, and I'm about to watch it again tonight, because it's all about bringing education to our mind, to our families, to our communities, to our schools, even the police departments. They don't even know what to look out for. In their eyes, when they get someone and catch them in the act, they think it's prostitution, when they don't realize they have been a victim since they were a teenager, such as it happened here with Sam. So they need to be educated. They need to be trained in what to look out for, because you're not helping when you're looking at that victim as a prostitute. I don't even like using that word anymore, because I've learned so much now about human trafficking that we need to not label the person that you are catching as an alleged prostitute. They could be a victim instead. So let's help rescue more. Let's help bring this monster out to light so that they can get caught. Speaking
Mm-hmm.
of thought, real quick, I know we're running out of time, because this is information that really needs to be put out there. And I'm not trying to bring politics into this show right now, Sam, but the borders being open, have you seen, if you know, that our numbers have increased for human trafficking victims?
Certainly, when you have immigration challenges and there are undocumented people, children, adults, whatever, the ability to find work is not there, right? Because you don't have your documentation, your paperwork, making you significantly more vulnerable to human trafficking. But even those entering the borders legally from a refugee perspective are at risk for human trafficking. Even those who are here and US citizens, right? 83% of human trafficking victims are US citizens. So it is a problem all around. Certainly, the borders are a part of that challenge, but they are not the only challenge.
Well, I think with everything that's happening with government, with communities, with people that are seeking asylum, all of that can create an increase, as you just heard Sam say. But we can all be part of that solution. How? By getting involved. You heard Sam what we need, who we need. And if that's you, please reach out and touch us. Reach out to donate. You see the information on the bottom of the screen. You'll see the hotline that I put it on the bottom of the screen. And you also will see the website, how to get involved, how to donate, how to even just spread the word. Sometimes that's all we need is you spread the word. Share it, share it, share it. Be part of the solution and not part of the problem, folks. So we've run out of time, Sam. Any last thing that you'd like to share here on Real Talk with E.V.E?
Thank you so much for having me. And if any of you are more interested in learning more, then follow us. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can learn more about how you can be a part of the solution and join the fight.
You heard that, folks. Join the fight. With that, Sam, I thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a great pleasure to bring things to light, especially the beginning of the year. It's all about education, folks.
It
He who
is.
is without knowledge shall perish. So get educated, people. On that note, Sam, thank you once again for joining us. We appreciate all that you do, and may God continue to bless you, protect you, and just keep you where He needs you. And may He continue to use you as He has. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Wow. You heard it here. We went past our time, but this is information that, it hits my heart, that, which is why I am involved in whatever way God wants to use me here with Rahab's daughter. So let's continue to share the word, the information. You guys saw it here. You guys heard it from someone that knows, that's been there, done that, and is there to be part of the solution, folks. So with that, until next Sunday, new time, same channel, different date, Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Share the information. God bless. See you until next time.